Oftentimes when you're using a subroutine or a function, not only do you want to pass data into the subroutine, but you also want to pass data back when the subroutine has done its job. And this is called a return value, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So let's go ahead and start by making a working copy of the subs.pl script, and we'll call this return.pl. So we're going to learn about returning values. And for this example, we will go ahead and we'll write a new subroutine, something that, let's just say it just adds a couple of numbers. And so we'll call this add num, and we'll just pass it a couple of numbers here. And our result will be a number. So we'll just say my num equals. Oftentimes when I'm writing something new, I'll start by saying, how am I going to use this? And I'll write an example of how I'm going to use it. And then I'll write the subroutine to match. So in this case, we'll call it add num. And in this case, it takes two values. And so I'm going to say my v1 and $v2 equals like that. And so that'll get me the two values that have been passed in. So these are arguments to the subroutine, and this is how we read them inside of the subroutine by reading them from the @_list. And then I will simply return the sum of these two numbers, v1 plus v2. So return is a keyword in Perl, and what it does is it takes its argument and it returns it from the subroutine so that the subroutine can then be used in an assignment context, where that can be assigned to a number like this, or you could use it as an argument to another subroutine. We'll print this one out. We'll just say $num like that. Or we can say something like this, message add num, and give it a couple of other numbers, say 5 and 8. And so when we run this, we'll get two lines. One of them should be the sum of 2 and 4, which would be 6. And the other one would be the sum of 5 and 8, which would be 13. We'll save that and run it. And there we have a 6 and we have a 13. So what we've got here is two different ways that we've called this subroutine. One is by assigning it to a variable and then printing out that variable. The other is by doing it directly without the intermediate variable. So we can see that the subroutine call, syntactically, it has the value of whatever you return. So you can call a subroutine in either of these ways or in any context where its value might be taken. And the return keyword is how you declare what that return value will be. And so return takes as its argument whatever the value is going to be that you're returning. And the subroutine can then be used in a context where that value is read, and that is the value that will be used in that context.